Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the A to Jump podcast. My name is Justin of Justin Games. He is Gooba, also known as Jacob of Gooba and Jetpack.
That is me. I am that guy.
He is the one, the only.
As far as I
Okay.
know.
Yeah, hopefully. Gooba is such a unique nickname. There's nobody else out there nicknamed Gooba, I promise.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, maybe.
You got
So
that from like your uncle, didn't you?
my aunt
Oh,
called
your
me that when I
aunt.
was a baby.
Okay, I
Um,
remember.
and I remember I'm gonna go off on a quick tangent here.
Do it.
Um, there was a song by a canceled rapper whose name I can't remember. It was like I think it was Takashi 69 or whatever, called Gooba, and he put it out after he got out of prison or something.
Was it your theme song for a while?
No, because it's an awful song and he's a garbage human. But
Okay.
I remember seeing that. I was like, fuck, now I can't use that for anything.
You're good.
Luckily, it's been 2 years and no one has ever said anything about it. So
Well, I've watched several of your streams and your VODs, and you cancel yourself half the time, so that's fine.
yeah,
You
I
don't need
think I'm
it.
up to like 42 times now on our stream.
That's funny. Okay, well, last episode we didn't give our predictions. They weren't predictions. They were our picks for the Game of the Year categories.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, since then, the award ceremony happened. Bill Clinton made an appearance. Not an
Yeah,
appearance, but
he won Game of the Year, according to that kid.
he's he, that was the strangest thing at an award show I've ever seen. It
I
was
remember
it was
we were
impressive.
watching that, and I think Becca, aka Jetpack, had walked out of the room when that guy came on, and I was like,
Terrible
"Wait a minute!"
timing.
And I was like, "What? Did that really just happen?" Like,
I was
so
watching a stream of Minmax, and they were watching it obviously, and they were saying, "Who is that kid?" Because he was just hovering in the background. He obviously didn't belong there with three Japanese men. It was just so strange. And then he finally just walks up and thanks his
Reformed
Reformed Orthodox
Orthodox
rabbi.
rabbi Bill Clinton.
Jason Schreier got an interview with him, and he said it's just the strangest. He was a weird kid, but whatever.
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess I didn't watch the interview, but I remember reading something like it was just like a random. It had no meaning. It was just this kid's like haha hashtag random
I
like moment on the internet.
guess, like, I mean, he accomplished his goal. If he was going for random, he got
Yeah.
it. Okay, so we're gonna run through these really quick. So, game of the year, we um, picked God of War Ragnarok. Elden Ring won. I don't think there was any question about what was actually going to win that.
No. I we picked based on our own
Yeah,
feelings about it, which
yeah,
I hadn't even finished
I
God
didn't
of War
even.
at that time.
Yeah, same.
Um but I think if granted like as good as God of War was, I think if Elden Ring didn't win, there would have been an uproar over that
Yeah, I think
just from the like general gaming community.
exactly. Yeah, there's no question. That was game of the year. Next category is best game direction. We chose Elden Ring. Elden Ring won.
Mhm.
Best narrative, we picked God of War. God of War won. Best art direction, we chose Scorn, which I was kind of surprised. I thought that would have
Yeah,
won.
I
Elden
thought
Ring, I didn't think was all that. I mean, sure, but it's just more Souls.
I guess it's just how you define art direction,
I don't know.
like,
Yeah.
which I still don't fully know how to
Well, it says here
categorize that.
for outstanding creative and/or technical achievement in artistic design and animation.
I mean,
Sure.
yeah, they did that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Scorn, like the art direction was the game. Um,
Yeah. Like that was. Oh yeah, exactly. I thought that was a very unique art style. Whereas Elden Ring, I didn't feel that
Hmm.
that
But
was
that's,
that unique.
yeah,
But whatever.
is what it is.
We weren't on the voting committee, so
Yep.
um, best score in music,
Of
uh,
course.
God of War. It's what we chose, and God of War won because of Bear McCreary.
Our boy Bear. And he had his own little
Yeah,
performance with
yeah,
is it Hosier? Is
yeah,
that how you
yeah.
say that?
I
Okay.
believe so. Yeah, that's a good
So
song too.
I downloaded that song and I actually listened to it quite a bit
Same.
the last few weeks.
I showed it
It's a
to my
good song.
wife, and she loves it.
Yeah.
Never would have thought she'd be listening to the God of War soundtrack. At least one song of it.
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West, giant snuff in that category, by the way. Anyway, moving on. Audio design. We chose Horizon Forbidden West, but God of War Ragnarok won. Apparently, just swinging your axe and grunting is the best in-game audio and sound design
All
in any
right. I
game.
think
All right, moving
I think there's
on.
you're just gonna brush right past that, aren't you?
Yeah, Horizon Forbidden West. Okay.
I
Uh,
do think that Horizon deserved to win that
I did.
category, but
Yeah.
God of War does a lot of things real well, and I think sound probably fits under that too.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah.
The next category was best performance by voice actor. There was no question about this one. Christopher Judge
Mm-hmm.
for his work on Kratos, which I didn't realize he did like the motion capture for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I just assumed he did the voice, but that's
Yeah, he
cool.
did. They did all. It was motion and face capture and
That's pretty cool.
vocal performance too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Games for Impact. We did not vote in this because we didn't recognize any of the games.
Yeah, I still
But
don't know any of them.
yeah, As Dusk Falls won, and I don't know what that's about. I kind of feel bad that I don't. Best ongoing game, Final Fantasy 14.
All right.
Final
There.
Fantasy.
Chop one up for
Reppin'.
your boys.
Yeah, but we voted for. We chose Fortnite, which I'm honestly surprised.
Yeah, you would
Everybody
think.
loves Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, the only ones that I thought even had a chance were Fortnite and Apex because they're so popular.
Yeah,
Um,
but I mean,
which I'm
Final
sure
Fantasy
Final.
14 is popular. I
Yeah,
just didn't think it was that popular.
I didn't think it was Fortnite popular. That's what I.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a whole other type of fan base.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is true. That is true. Best indie, we voted for Cult of the Lamb between the two of us, but Stray took it away. Which,
I'll give a clap for that.
yeah, yeah. Congratulations, congratulations. Best debut indie, right? No.
Yeah, that's what I have next.
Okay, well on the website it's best mobile game. Maybe we skipped that.
Oh,
Marvel Snap won that.
which
Yeah, I
I think that was what we voted for, right?
think so too. Is this out of
Okay.
order?
Mm-hmm.
Best mobile. Yeah, Marvel Snap. Next on this is best community support.
Final Fantasy got that too.
Yeah. What did we vote for? No Man's Sky. We
Poor
tried. We tried Sean
Sean
Murray. I'm sorry. We tried.
Sean Murray, that's his name.
Yeah.
You'll get him next time, bud.
Get him next time, man. Innovation in accessibility. I feel like we had a good talk about this in our last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Sony's definitely leading the charge in that.
Yeah, you knew it was going to be a
first
Sony title.
Yep. God of War Ragnarok won. Why this list is so out of order? Or mobile. I don't know. We must have skipped that one, Jake.
Hmm.
Oh well. Okay, now moving on. VR and AR. We chose it based on the name alone, I believe. Bone Lab.
Yeah, and that was just because that was the only one that I had any familiarity with.
Okay,
Haven't even played it. It just I've seen
you've heard of
videos
it.
on it and it looks fun. So
Well, apparently we need to be paying more attention to Moss Book 2 because that's the one that won.
okay,
Best action game, Neon White. We were talking about that before we started recording.
yeah,
Is what we chose. Sorry, Bayonetta 3 is what won that.
okay,
I have no interest in playing Bayonetta.
yeah. So at the time that we voted, I had not played any of these games. I've now played two of them, and
Okay, what was the other one you played?
um, I started playing Modern Warfare 2. Um,
Oh, okay, yeah.
actually been playing a fair bit of that, and it's been fun. I've only played the multiplayer so far. Uh, the maps are kind of garbage, but it's just classic Call of Duty, you know.
More Call of Duty.
Yeah,
It's
it'll be fun for a while. That's kind of
yeah, exactly.
my
Yep.
thoughts on it every time.
Best action adventure. We chose the correct answer. Horizon Forbidden West, and the Game Awards chose the wrong answer. Wrong answer. God of War Ragnarok. Best role playing. Elden Ring. That's what we
Duh.
chose, and That's what won. Best fighting game. We chose Sifu. Apparently, it's a fighting game, but multiverses that away. Uh,
Okay.
the the little thumbnail on the Game Awards website is Shaggy and Batman. Looks like Batman's eating a cheeseburger, and Shaggy has the Batwing. What a game! What a game!
Oh yeah. Clear winner right there, just based on that.
Best family we chose Nintendo Switch Sports, but Kirby and the Forgotten Land took that.
Yeah. Okay.
Sim Sim and strategy. We chose Total Warhammer 3 just because I like to watch videos on Total War Warhammer 3.
Hmm.
However, I got a $50 prepaid card for Christmas and I bought Total War Warhammer 3.
So you actually are you actually play it now.
I've played a little bit, yes. And
Okay.
boy is it difficult. But Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope took that. And I would like to argue the fact that that's not a real strategy game, but I'm not going to do that.
I'm sure someone would argue with you on that. That is not going to be me.
You are not him.
No.
I
I'm
don't know.
not
I
him.
guess it. I guess it is. I guess it is. It just seems more. I don't know. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of strategy involved with it, actually.
Okay.
But moving on. Sports and racing. We chose Gran Turismo 7, and by God, Gran Turismo 7 won.
Look at that.
Look at us. Multiplayer. We chose Modern Warfare 2, but Splatoon 3 won.
This one really surprised me.
Right? A lot of
Um
people liked it. I'm
I
glad.
I mean, good for Splatoon. I've never personally played it.
Either.
Like it looks like fun, but I just didn't think that they had a big enough player base to beat out not only Call of Duty but Overwatch, even though Overwatch 2 is kind of meh,
Yeah,
and
people did.
Multiverses
Yeah,
winning
which
the best fighting game.
yeah, but hey, good for
Yeah.
Splatoon.
Yeah.
Good for Nintendo.
Mhm.
Content creator. We chose Nibelian, but Ludwig won. Do you know who Ludwig is?
I do. I watch some of his stuff. He's got I think I talked about it in the last episode. He does a fair bit of gaming content, but he also does just the basic like you laugh you lose challenges and stuff like that too, like the
Gotcha.
typical YouTuber stuff, but he's funny and he's actually got some good gaming content, so,
Good.
good for him.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Best debut indie. That's way up here on my list.
Yeah, that was a
We
real
chose
out
we
of place one.
chose We chose Stray, and Stray won,
As it should.
as it should.
Yeah.
Next up, best adaptation. I believe we chose Arcane. You hadn't watched any of these, had you?
Mm-mm. Still haven't.
There it is. Yeah, Arcane is extremely good. That very, very much deserved to win.
Okay.
Oh, there's our. Did we gloss over the innovation and accessibility? We chose Last of Us. We chose Last of Us Part One.
Yeah.
I think God of War
War
won.
won.
Okay,
yeah.
I think I forgot to say what we picked.
Yeah. That one I mean I kind of assumed it was going to be Last of Us just because they made a point like in the marketing and everything for that game that they were like really beefing up the accessibility options. But and I never really delve into it with God of War at all, but I mean apparently, it's a Sony title, so
yeah,
either way they're really doing
Last
a lot
of
with
Us,
that, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Last of Us Part One had to show something new that says, "Hey, this isn't just the same game for $70." Hey, look at all these new accessibility options.
Yeah, and it's on PC now, so
that's like, yeah, that's cool.
They do have that.
Okay, I think that's all we chose.
There was one more that I don't think we've done yet,
which
is most anticipated game.
Oh, there it is.
Which we all knew.
We had a good debate. I think we had a good debate about this on our last episode.
Yeah, so I think
we had it. I only have two things on our list, and it's Final Fantasy 16 and Legend of Zelda. But we chose Legend of Zelda just because we're both excited about that. And Legend of Zelda won. It's won like the past 4 years.
Which has it been on every year?
Yeah, since it
really
was announced in what?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
2019. So the last 3.
Yeah, I think it was E3 like 2019. I think was when it was announced.
It must have been. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that is my most anticipated game for sure.
Yeah.
Esports game, Valorant won. We don't care about esports. Yeah, the esports athletes.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you any of them.
Esport athlete. Is athlete the right word? No judgment, but just
maybe competitor.
Competitor.
I think that's a better title for it. Like no judgment towards any of them. Like
I'm not athletic, not in the slightest. But I would never call myself an athlete, and I doubt any of these fellows would either.
Yeah, I think competitor is probably a better term for that.
Competitors.
Yeah.
Best esports team was Loud.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know them.
Loud, and I just don't care about the rest. Esports event 2022 League of Legends. Yeah.
I feel like that's gonna probably win every year.
Yeah,
just because League of Legends is massive around the world.
And I don't think I've seen a second of content in my life about League of Legends. Couldn't tell you what it looks like.
I've seen clips of it in videos about other things where someone just mentions League of Legends. But I've never actually that's the only gameplay I've ever seen. I've never actually watched anything else on it.
Well, okay, that's our recap of the 2022 Game Awards. I think it went all right.
Yeah.
Good old Bill Clinton.
That'll be remembered more than any of the awards will.
All right. What do you think the chances are that at 2023's Game Awards there is a Bill Clinton reference mentioned somewhere?
I don't think Jeff will do it.
No, I don't think Keely will do it. I think he was pretty upset by that.
Depending on who the presenters are, I think that it's possible. I think I'm trying to think of like who's a funny person in the gaming
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of them.
reporting space that would do that.
Uh, okay, hear me out.
Okay.
Bill Clinton is only 76 years old. He could
Okay.
walk out on that stage and, and present Game of the Year.
Oh man.
That would
Or
be
what if he came out with Miyazaki, because isn't it the director of the previous year's game?
Yep, you're right, because Joseph Ferris came out
Yeah.
to get that one. Oh my god. Now that would be comedy gold. Bill Clinton and Miyazaki
Yeah,
to give Yoshi P the game of the year award for Final Fantasy 16. Can't wait to see
all right,
it.
you're calling that already. Okay.
Can't wait to see it.
All right.
Okay. So, it is our first show of January or of 2023.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. So Jake, what's on the horizon for Gooba and Jetpack in 2023? What are your guys' goals?
We got a lot of stuff that we're working on right now. I am very slowly making my way through a video that I filmed, I think in September. And what ends up happening with me is I think of an idea that I think I can turn into like a quick video.
Mm-hmm.
Like just not like a filler video necessarily, but something
Sure.
that is quick, it's fun, people will like it, and I can just get it out there. And then I dive way too hard into the writing process of it, and it ends up being like a 20-minute lecture about video games.
Honestly, yeah.
But that's
I mean,
yeah,
that's good, I think.
yeah. I mean, I know I'm going to be proud of it once it comes out. It's just a lot of work. But on top of that, I want to start getting back into some game reviews, like the games I should have played series that I started and kind of abandoned, like playing
those are
some
good.
games that I meant to play a long time ago and just never have, which I'm kind of doing right now with Plague Tale Innocence.
Oh yeah,
because I want to try and get into the new one.
Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed your Pokemon Legends Arceus review. I don't know if you call that a review, but you just talked about it, I think. But
I would say it's a review. It's like kind of a comedy review.
Absolutely. It was very funny.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite videos that I made because I just got to be like kind of goofy about it. So I wanted to start doing more stuff of that. We're still streaming twice a week, and we're enjoying that. I like when we get to stream together. We always have a good time too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely want to do more of that.
Those Nancy Drew games, though, man. Oh, I am so lost watching you two play those. Like you guys, you just zoom around. Like you don't walk around a 3D space. It's just like 3D images, and you just click to where you want to go. Like, how do they know where they're going? I am so confused.
I mean, if I hadn't seen all of them before we started making content on them, I don't know if I would. Like, I'd probably be in the same place. Because right after, or shortly after we started dating was when the most recent one came out. And I was thrown headfirst into the world of Nancy Drew games. And I've grown an appreciation for them too. Like, there's such a diehard fan base for those games.
I can tell.
Like, there's recurring characters and like recurring themes throughout 33 different games, which is crazy.
It is.
But yeah, I can definitely understand, like, as a new person watching them, you're kind of like, who are these people? Where are you going? What's
like she's like watching one of your VODs, like she's asking for hints and stuff, and like Nancy's just talking like crazy, and like Becca's like, "Oh yeah, okay," or Jetpack, excuse me. This is, "Oh okay, off we go." And I'm like, "What?" I didn't understand anything.
Yeah. Well, thank God that everyone that watches us is also a part of that community. So the chat is always just like, if we can't figure something out, they're like, "Oh, just go here or do this." Like someone always knows the answer.
That's helpful then, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah,
those are pretty complicated games. Have you guys heard of Monkey Island, the Monkey Island series?
I'm sort of familiar with it. I've never really played it myself.
I had never heard of it, but I would. It's definitely not the same, but it seems kind of similar to the Nancy Drew games. You're walking around and you're clicking for clues and you're figuring out puzzles and stuff like that.
Okay.
I thought of you guys when I saw gameplay of that. It looked like something you guys would enjoy.
Yeah, I would check that out.
But yeah, okay. So that's Gooba and Jetpack looking out for 2023.
Yeah. And what do you got planned for the year, sir?
I don't know. No, that's not true. Um, I started my channel early last year in 2022, and then Horizon came out, and I was able just to play nothing but that. And then once I finished with that, it's like I didn't know what to play. I kind of struggled finding something that grabbed me, that hooked me enough. Um, so I kind of jumped into near Automata. I love JRPGs,
Mm-hmm.
and I think, and that's definitely one I needed to play. And if you watch any of those near videos, you can just hear my reaction. Like this, I knew like the main characters are androids, and that's like it. And there are
Yeah.
just so many twists and turns going on in that game. And like the first, I don't know, I'm probably 10 hours in, and my mind's
Mm-hmm.
just blown like every other hour. It's just crazy the things that go on in there.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to get that pushed out and done, because I think for 2023 I really need to stop focusing on. I think I need to. There's a lot of cool games coming out this year, which we'll talk about in a second, and I've made a good list of them, and I want to stick to those games. I don't want to. I don't want to try to replay old games. Like I want
Mm-hmm.
to, or not replay, but playing old games. I want to play the new games and just kind of punch them out and get them done,
Mm-hmm.
instead of, I don't know. I not really sure how to put this into words, but just be able to put out new stuff earlier
Mm-hmm.
and enjoy and try to enjoy them rather than, I don't know, like I did with Horizon. I played it and
Yeah.
I just played it all, and then I struggled. I want to try not to let myself struggle and figure out what to play
Mm-hmm.
and just play them.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So with my channel just being a let's play channel, um I want to get into what games we're looking forward to for this coming year.
Yeah. Should
A
be a
lot
big
that
year.
it's gonna be a crazy big year. So I tried to really narrow mine down because I know I can't bite off too much.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because between family and all that stuff and work, I don't have a lot of time to play games. But all right, what do you want to do, Jake? Do you want to kind of run through a list, an entire
Um,
list, or I went through and picked out my favorites. I don't really care however you want to pick yours.
I don't really have a list necessarily. I'm kind of just looking at the releases for the year, and I have a few that um I was already excited for, and then a few that I'm like either that I forgot about and I'm seeing again, or that I just saw for the first time that excited me. So,
Okay.
um,
Well, maybe I'll
but
run
you
through
can,
mine. I'll run through
yeah.
mine. I think a lot of ours are going to align, or a few of them are going to align.
Hmm.
And then whatever I don't mention, you can bring up what you'd like. So very soon, Fire Emblem Engage comes out. That comes out the January 20th. So I don't have much longer to wait for that.
Okay.
I love Fire Emblem Three Houses. I love Fire Emblem Three Hopes, and I'm very much looking forward to Fire Emblem Engage. I'm hoping that's going to be a good time sink. I hope I get into that like I did Three Houses.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a very fun, very unique type of game, and everything I've seen so far, it looks incredible. And some critics have gotten their hands on it already, and they like it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that one a lot.
Okay.
Uh, next is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That comes out March 17th. I would like to
Is
play
that really that
through.
early?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
No, you're fine.
interrupted you.
No, you're totally fine. Yes, March 17th. I would
Wow.
like to play through Fallen Order on my channel before that comes out because
Mm-hmm.
I watched some stuff on YouTube about Fallen Order. Never actually beat the game. Played some of it. But I would like to get through that. And it's always like $5 on Steam too. So,
Oh yeah, it's always deals on that one.
Did you play Fallen Order at all?
I played like 2 or 3 chapters of it,
hmm
probably.
You're not a big Star Wars guy, right? Do I remember that correctly?
I am and I'm not. So I like growing up, I was never. I've seen all the movies, and um, it's gonna sound weird because I know the general reception of them, but I started watching them or started actually paying attention more when the most recent trilogy came out.
Same, honestly.
Um,
Yeah.
and that actually kind of got me more excited about Star Wars than I ever was when I was a kid.
hmm
Um, Loved Mandalorian,
hmm
and I started playing um, Fallen Order when it first came out, and I was really excited about it because it did seem like a really cool, like, uh, story-driven Star Wars game. Um, but I started playing it when it was still really buggy. Like it did not have a good release. Um, so there's a lot of issues with it that I wasn't really ready to deal with.
Yeah.
And just at the time, I was not. It definitely has like sort of a Dark Souls esque
See,
like
yeah,
fighting style to it, and I wasn't really about that at the time.
same. And then
Um,
that's why I really bounced off of it the first time I played it.
mhm,
And I'm telling myself I need to push through that
mhm.
and not be such a baby and get good, you know? But you played Elden Ring, a bunch of Elden Ring, so you should be
I have,
ready. You should be all
yeah.
ready.
Although, I mean, I don't know if hardcore Elden Ring players would count what I do as playing because I just use
Just,
magic and spam
uh,
everything from across the room. But
there's no wrong way to play games.
yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, March 17th, Jedi Survivor comes out. I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited for that. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. The
Hmm.
opposite of you, I think. But you haven't watched Clone Wars or anything like that?
No,
Okay.
um, that's another one of those things that like people have been telling me forever that I need to watch Clone Wars and I need to watch Andor and whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, okay,
I'll
like
get
I'll
to it
get
when I get to
around
it.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, after that is Tears of the Kingdom. That's May 12th.
Yeah.
The sequel to the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Not much more we can say about that. I mean, it's going to be
Yeah.
incredible. It's going to
It's
be
on.
Breath of the Wild on drugs. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited
It's
to
on
see
both
what
of our lists.
yeah, I'm excited to see um what new what new things they can bring to the table. Because Breath of the Wild it seems so innovative and fun by itself. I hope they don't end up doing too much and
Mm-hmm.
they just overdo it and it kind of ruins the experience. But
Yeah.
I trust them. Next, my phone keeps locking because it's dying. Next is Final Fantasy 16. What we've all been waiting for. What I've been waiting for. I can't wait for this. Final Fantasy 15 came out in like 2016, I think.
I think it was 2015, wasn't it? I think it was real
No,
early in the PS4.
had to have been
Was it
16 because my
2016?
yeah, because
Okay.
my daughter was born in 15,
Oh, okay.
and uh, I wasn't playing it without her.
Yeah.
She was. I remember her being there when I was playing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So it's been a long time since we had a mainline single player Final Fantasy. Obviously, Final Fantasy 14's been doing just fine,
Yeah.
but I haven't been able to get into that. Not that I've even tried, but it's just
Hmm.
MMOs are not my thing.
Yeah. That's fair.
So we're excited for that, and it just seems like such a huge departure from what 15 was, or even what 13 was. We're kind of returning like to actual quote unquote medieval fantasy.
Hmm.
You know, Final Fantasy 15 had cities and cars and stuff like that, whereas 16 is probably not going to have any of those.
Yeah.
So that's it for things that have release dates for me. Did you have any that I didn't mention that have release dates?
Um, yeah, I have a couple. So, one that we haven't mentioned today, but we have talked about on the podcast before is Forspoken.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
coming out this month actually, which
yeah. The 24th, I think. I can't remember.
yeah. Um, definitely one of those that like it's, you know, um it immediately intrigued me when it was announced. Just looked like a fun, like kind of different RPG adventure type game. I still don't really know that much about it, to be honest. It just kind of
Mm-mm.
looked like a game that I would be into, so I'm excited to see what becomes of that. Um,
Really quick, I too was super intrigued by this when it first dropped the trailer. It looks amazing. It's
hmm
just been like the things since that have kind of made me cool off on it.
hmm
It's just I don't know. It seems like it has some issues. Um, word I want to use. I don't know.
hmm
Socially, maybe seems like it has some issues with
Yeah.
sexism and maybe some racism and some weird things about that, and that might be unintentional. I mean, I'm sure it's unintentional, but
hmm
just some stereotypes. I think media needs to get away from in general.
Yeah. That's
But
fair.
I mean, we'll see. Like I said, I had to like really trim down my list. It was gonna be between. It was either that or Fire Emblem, and I'm gonna choose Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, that does look cool. I will definitely check it out.
Yeah.
I probably won't
I'll
play it, but I'll watch some stuff on it.
I'll wait to see um the state it's in when it comes out and what people think of it. That's not
Hmm.
one that I'm going to pre-order or anything, but
Yeah.
one that I'm interested to get a closer look at. Um, so another one that I'm pretty excited for, but cautiously, is Hogwarts Legacy. Um,
Yep. Similar issues, I think, with
yeah,
the Forspoken.
similar uh, social issues, and also just the um, Becca and I were talking about this the other day. Just the you know what we've seen so far looks really good.
Hmm.
But it's this studio's first like big title like this. Um, like it's by Portkey Games, which I think is new, but it's also under Avalanche Studios, um, who haven't put out anything to this scale, um, at least not in a long time. And I'm just really worried that it's one of those like uh too good to be true situations.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like all of the things that you're supposed to be able to do with the gameplay and all of the freedom that you're supposed to have and how you go about it and all this stuff. Like it kind of gives me uh cyberpunk vibes a little bit.
Yeah,
Like they're promising too much. Like, are they going to be able to deliver? That's sort of where I'm at with it.
I would agree with you. Yes,
Yeah.
very
So
much cyberpunk esque.
yeah. So I know we were supposed to be talking about like anticipated games. Um
They're
and that is I am anticipating it, but it's
yeah,
also I'm being cautious for a few different reasons.
yeah, and no, these are exciting games for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah. Um Obviously, you know, we've already talked about Tears of the Kingdom. We don't have to get into that.
Hmm.
I am still working my way through Breath of the Wild 1.
Hmm.
Um so gonna
You got
have to
till
try
May.
and
You got till
yeah,
May.
I'm definitely gonna have to try and uh get into that more. Maybe I'll start streaming that, and that'll be like my way of actually committing some time to it.
Hmm. I don't think it's
Um
gonna be that big of a deal to jump straight into Tears of the Kingdom. Honestly,
mhm,
I don't think. I mean, there's definitely a story to Breath of the Wild, but I wouldn't call it
mhm.
incredibly deep and robust story.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't be too worried if you don't get it beaten in time.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like I think I already know kind of how it ends from watching Becca play it and then also just seeing videos on it and stuff, but I still want to experience it for myself.
Yeah, of
Um
course.
so I'm going to try and do that before the second one comes out. Um and I mean, there's probably a ton of games I could talk about on here. I will touch on Resident Evil 4
Hmm.
remake,
Yeah.
which shout out to our good friend Steven, who was obsessed with this game when we were growing up. And uh, I was hanging out with him recently, and we watched a bunch of the like new gameplay trailers and stuff like that, just the stuff that they've released so far.
Hmm.
And it's crazy how good it looks.
Yeah,
Um,
it does look pretty good.
yeah, and knowing their track record with remastering the old Resident Evils and how well those turned out, like I don't know if I'll ever play it. I don't think I'm brave enough.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they're really up in the horror on this one. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely gonna at least watch a playthrough of it or something because it looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah. The opening, the opening hour or whatever, when you're running through the village, I think that's gonna be a lot of fun to see. Just
Mm-hmm.
be able to watch instead of play. But
Yeah. Neither of us are brave enough to play it, but we'll definitely watch somebody else do it.
yeah, not anymore. No,
Yeah.
I would have been back in the day. I don't like
Yeah.
scary games anymore.
Yeah,
Like
I struggle with
I could
stuff like
tell.
that now.
I watched your what was it, Mortuary's Assistant.
Oh man.
I felt so bad for you, but it was still hilarious. I
I
think
still to this day I couldn't tell you what made me decide to do that
I don't know either.
cuz we had started playing it together the night before and
Hmm.
had to stop because it was too like we were getting too freaked out, and then uh our dog Roxy was like starting to get really anxious because we were getting anxious. We're like, all right, I think we need to cut this, and we hadn't even made it through like the intro. Uh
It's been 15 minutes.
yeah. And I was for whatever reason then I was set to stream the next day. I was like, you know, I bet people would like that. And I didn't even think about the fact that like this is going to be miserable for me.
Hmm. And I could tell I could tell you were getting scared, and Jetpack like started off messing with you and giving you a hard time, and then I think she started feeling bad for you, like so she was like super encouraging by the end. And I was cracking up the whole time. But yeah,
I was
scary games not our thing.
yeah. But I will watch Resident Evil. Just not gonna play it.
For sure. Anything else as far as
Um.
announced?
Oh, there was one other one that I saw that I wanted to touch on, or at least just mention. I think it. I don't even think it's announced yet, or it's not no release date. But Lies of P.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
remember that one?
I do. That was
Oh shit! I just saw.
The Pinocchio one.
Yeah, it's like a Pinocchio Dark Souls.
Yeah,
Um,
that's set for this year, huh?
yeah, that one looks
Yeah,
sweet.
you're right.
And
Forgot
then
about
one that I
that.
just saw while looking for that I should have brought up is Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that was
Um,
on my list too.
yeah, Spider-Man for the PS4 is, I think I had it in my top 5 games of all time.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because God, it was so much fun. I want to get back into that.
Again, so that's I'm kind of in the same boat as Star Wars, uh, with Spider-Man. I played Spider-Man 1, but
Mhm.
not all of it.
Yeah.
So if I do get a PS5 this year, which I hope, I want to play through Spider-Man 1 again
Mhm.
on my channel, and then play Spider-Man 2. But
Yeah.
I think um in terms of like the most likely to get delayed till next year, I think Spider-Man 2 is on that list. I think
Yeah.
big time that might get delayed.
Yeah. Or if we see it, it's going to be like holiday 2023
Yeah, and then they'll
if we're
push it to,
lucky.
yeah, they'll probably push it to June.
Mhm.
Um Assassin's Creed Mirage is slated for next year,
Yeah.
or excuse me, this year. Are you not excited for that?
Uh I don't know, man. Assassin's
Oh,
Creed has kind of fallen off for me the last few games, if I'm
well,
being
this,
honest.
yeah,
Um,
I agree with you, but I think Mirage is going to be drastically different than the last three games we've gotten.
okay.
I think they're going to
Yeah.
return less of the gigantic open world RPG
Mm-hmm.
type games, and they're going to hopefully get back to like their Syndicate Unity type worlds. Definitely open world, but much smaller, more
Mm-hmm.
dense, more to do instead
Yeah.
of hopping on a horse and galloping for 10 minutes to get to your next quest.
Yeah.
So
Don't.
I'm very much looking forward to that. Assassin's Creed is one of my favorite franchises. I know it is for you too, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely the older
Yeah.
ones.
I like, no disrespect to the last few Assassin's Creeds. I know that there's a lot of people who really enjoyed them and probably more than the old games.
Hmm.
Um, but it didn't feel like Assassin's Creed anymore. It just felt like an RPG. Like,
I very much agree. Yeah.
yeah, I played a good chunk of Valhalla when I first got my PS5.
Hmm.
Because there wasn't a whole lot of games on it at the time,
Right.
and I enjoyed it, but it didn't feel like Assassin's Creed. It
It
felt like
does.
a Viking
Yep.
RPG.
They all three of them felt like that. I played a
Hmm.
good chunk of all three. I never beat any of them,
Yeah.
but I played a good chunk of all three. I think my favorite one would probably be Odyssey,
Hmm.
the middle one in Greece. That was fun, just because I liked Cassandra as a character. She was really cool.
Yeah.
But and Bayek was cool. I don't know, but whatever. It's just you're right. It just didn't feel like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
If I'm playing Assassin's Creed, I want to feel like Assassin.
Yeah.
And
Give
you just
me give me back my, you know, stealth, like, I don't want to say that I want the one hit kills back, but like the fun of Assassin's Creed, especially in the old games like Brotherhood and Syndicate and all that,
Mhm.
was, like I enjoyed the stealth aspect, like sneaking around on rooftops trying to find, like, all right, how do I take all these people out, like, without being detected. Um and it was fun to be able to just sneak up behind people, hidden blade, move on to the next. Like,
Yep.
but
Syndicate did it really well.
hmm
If they can get back to that and just expand, a little bit better.
yeah.
But for me,
And I
Assassin's Creed's always been about story.
hmm
I enjoy that, the real deep lore of it all. So I hope
Hmm.
hopefully that gets more into it. Whereas in the other three, it was like, I don't know. I didn't really feel like it was front and center like it was in Brotherhood and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think just I don't know if this is the right term for it, but I think a return to form
Hmm.
would be good for the series. Just bring it back to where it started.
I agree. Okay, kind of cruise through the rest of these. Euden Chronicles, which is a JRPG by the old makers of I blank on this name all the time. A very old, uh, very popular old JRPG that I can never remember the name of, but they're making a new game, or he's making a new game called Euden Chronicles, and that looks like a lot of fun. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the
Hmm.
sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake, is slated for this year. I also think that's getting delayed. I don't think that they're quite.
Hmm.
I'm not holding my breath for that one.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 we already talked about.
Yep.
Definitely want to do that. Sea of Stars, another JRPG. You can tell I'm a JRPG fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Uh, Starfield
Yeah. So
is supposed to come out this year.
I'll be cautiously optimistic about that one.
you
That's where I'll stand on that.
know, I am very excited for that. Bethesda, despite all the memes, despite Todd Howard being a weirdo,
Yeah.
they make good, fun games.
Hmm.
You know, they Elder Scrolls, Skyrim is, ooh, yeah, one of my favorite games.
Hmm.
Fallout games never really clicked with me, but I know there are a lot of people's favorite games ever.
Oh yeah.
So I think this is gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be
Hmm.
fun. Just hopefully they don't do the No Man's Sky thing where it's like you can go anywhere in 7 billion planets and there's just nothing in any of them.
Yeah.
But
Don't.
they avoid that.
Yeah. Don't pull a Sean Murray. Don't
Yeah,
overpromise what you can't
and
deliver.
I don't feel like Todd Howard's doing that. Like he's not on talk shows. You know, he's not on Jimmy Fallon talking about his game or anything.
I think they probably learned their lesson after Fallout 76.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
that was
like,
kind of a
okay,
mess, wasn't it?
we really gotta dial back the marketing on this. Just deliver a game when it's ready.
Yeah,
But
I kind of like. I've noticed this with Nintendo, and I really like this formula, whatever you want to call it, that they're doing. It seems like Nintendo isn't even announcing games until they're done
yeah.
because they did it. They did it with Metroid Dread, and I think that's what started it. Like we saw a Metroid Dread trailer at like a E3 one year.
Hmm.
Like it's coming out in December. Like whoa, we only got to wait like 4 months for this. Like
Yeah.
that's unheard of in our gaming hobbies. You know, usually we see
Oh
something
yeah.
like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. You know, we get a trailer for that, and we've been waiting for what 4 years for that.
Hmm.
So, and they did it with Fire Emblem. We got uh, a trailer in I don't know when, but it was only a few months. I remember watching that trailer and like, oh sweet, new Fire Emblem, and the release date was in January. And it's like,
Hmm.
well, geez, I only got to wait like 3 months for that. Like that, I love that formula. I think that's going to be the future. I think. I don't
Hmm.
think companies, because in reality, what does announcing that you're working on a game that you just started or you're only halfway through, what good does that do? Build
Yeah.
hype, build hype, but I feel like you'd get even more hype if you just waited and you'd say, "Hey, here's our game that you know was always rumored but never confirmed, and you can play it in 3 months." Like, I
Yeah.
think that is the way to do it. I think that's going to get people way more excited about it.
Hmm.
So that's my hope.
Yeah.
But
I'm
anyway,
with you on that.
yeah, I think that's fun. Okay, that's it for games. Now, Mr. Gooba, Mr. There is a certain show, an HBO original coming
Yes,
out
sir.
this year, this month, very soon.
Uh,
Would you care to enlighten us about that certain
I
show?
I would. Thank you. Um, so The Last of Us HBO series is coming out in a little over a week. I
I think
want to
the
say it's the 15th.
I agree. Yeah,
And if any of you have watched previous episodes of this, I'm sure I've talked about it a ton. There's a poster of it right behind me. The Last of Us is my favorite game of all time.
hmm
Um, and obviously, I'm very excited for this. I absolutely adore the casting choices that they made.
yeah.
Um, Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey are they're gonna be incredible. Like I don't think there's any denying that. Um, and the more I see of it, the more excited I am. The only thing that I will say I'm a little bit not nervous about, but it just kind of puts the show in a bad light is I don't know if you've seen any of the comments that Craig Mazin, the writer, has been making.
I have.
Um, man, like
Just shut up.
I'm, yeah, I'm sure,
There's
like,
no reason to hype this up anymore,
yeah.
or try to hype it up.
Well, the hyping it up thing isn't really the issue with me. It's the belittling of the game, which,
Okay.
um, not belittling necessarily, but he made some comments about, uh, how he thinks watching a person die on the show is going to be a lot more impactful than watching pixels die in the game.
No,
And I'm
sir.
like,
No,
no,
sir.
that's not,
He,
you're not thinking of it in that, because it's like, he's thinking of it in the aspect of like when you die in the game and you respawn and you try again. Like, that's not the impactful part of it.
right.
Like, the impactful part of it are the characters that you meet along the way and
hmm
then having to watch them die and they're no longer part of the game and
Yeah.
you are
The
now traveling without them.
the
Like,
impactful part is in like the first 10 minutes of the game, Joel
mhm.
watching his daughter die in his arms. Like,
Yeah.
no. You gonna even
You're
tell me that that's not impactful? Like, come on.
yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah. And I think that that may be taken slightly out of context, but also just that's a dumb thing to say. You're
Yeah.
promoting an adaptation of one of the most beloved games ever.
Yeah. And I've heard some arguments that he's trying to wrap in the non-gamers, but I don't see how that's supposed to accomplish that. I
I
I don't know. How
yeah,
many
like
I think a lot of non-gamers are going to watch this just because of the presentation of it
mhm.
anyway, because I mean it's I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's HBO. They have a phenomenal track record.
Mhm.
They got millions of people who had never read a Game of Thrones book to watch all 8 seasons of that,
Yeah.
including me. Um,
Right.
like they're gonna get the viewership. You don't have to try that hard to pull the non-gamers in. I think them seeing it alone and seeing the hype from the millions of people who have played the game who
Yeah.
are gonna watch this would
It's
be enough.
probably just some Hollywood guy running his mouth, I don't know.
Yeah. Like
But
I'm
the part that makes me feel really good about it is that Neil Druckmann had a lot to do with it. Like
mhm.
he was like one of the executive producers, right, or something like that. Just like he just
I
wasn't like a
think
consultant or something like that.
No, I think he was like a co-writer on
Yeah,
it.
okay, good. So, yeah,
So
that's what makes me feel good.
yeah, and
I
I watched a video today of them like interviewing some of the actors and Neil and Craig and all that stuff. And stuff that did make me feel good was, I don't want this to be like a one for one, like
no, we've
just
already seen
mirror
that.
image.
Yeah,
I'm glad that they're gonna kind of try and make it their own. Um, and one of the things that Neil said that made me feel good is like they're gonna be able to do things that they wanted to do in the game, but couldn't have, like, it wouldn't fit with the gameplay
that's exciting.
aspect of it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
so like there's like a one thing that he mentioned was there's an old piece of concept art from when they first created the game that just shows Joel and Ellie like laughing around a campfire, and like tonally that's something that could never fit in the game because you just, where are you
It's
going to put
just
that?
yeah, it's just pure darkness and despair the whole time.
Yeah. Favorite game, yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
But like with a show, I think they can find ways to put some of those more like character moments in there.
I agree. I'm
So
excited. I think it's
yeah.
gonna be good. I'm excited. I love The Last of Us. I think it's some of the best storytelling in video games for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did hear that season two, they do plan on doing a season two, and they do plan on it covering part two, the Last of Us Part Two game.
Oh boy.
Which, oh boy, I can't wait to see a bunch of a new audience experience that and watch everybody get pissed off all over again.
Oh man.
Oh, I don't know. Like I always wondered when they first announced that, I'm like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna do? Is it just gonna be a one and done? How are they gonna do a season two? Because Last of Us Part Three is years away at this point. Still, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what they're gonna do as far as the show. If it's gonna be popular,
Oh yeah.
I don't know how they get away not doing a season two or a season three.
Yeah. I
I don't know.
think um well, I do know that they're going to have more stuff to fill up the time with, like um cuz they're going to I apparently they're going to dip into some time before the outbreak in this season. Um so we're going to get to see some of Joel's life with Sarah and Tommy before everything went to shit.
Okay.
Um and I assume they're going to take some more time to get to know some of the side characters. Like Bill, I think is going to have a pretty decent story arc.
You think Bill will be
Um,
around more than one episode?
I hope so, honestly. I mean, they got
Okay.
Nick Offerman for it. Like
Right. Yeah.
that's
Hopefully he's around for more than one episode.
yeah. I hope they give him at least like a decent 2-3 episode arc. I think that would be really cool.
Do you know
Not
how
like
many?
all based on him, but like
Sure.
him be a part of it.
In there. Do you know
Mhm.
how many episodes it is? Is it 8, 10?
I assume 10, just because that's the standard. That's always been the standard for HBO
HBO.
shows,
Okay.
or at least with like Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon and stuff. But I mean, they could fill up as many as they wanted to, I'm sure. But I think a good number would be 10 episodes.
See here. 9, according to this.
Okay,
9.
that's not bad.
Maybe they'll kind of, I don't know. Um do you think season 1 will end the same way the game ended?
From what they've shown, I think so.
I think so too.
Um,
I don't know how they don't.
yeah, just basing it off, unless they do some weird like time jump, which I don't think they're gonna do.
Mm-mm.
But if they like, I'm almost positive they've shown uh the ending scene of the first game where they're, about to go into Jackson, and Ellie asks Joel like if everything that he's told her is true. Like I'm pretty sure that they've shown that scene, or at least like a snippet of it in the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume they're gonna make it through the entire the events of the first game, but I could be wrong about that.
I would assume so. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember. I'm just kind of running through my brain how that first one ends, and it wasn't necessarily a cliffhanger. Like, I think it had a definitive ending because I think they only planned on it just being one game, right?
Initially, yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously they.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know. It's a good ending. I know that. I don't know how spoilery you want to get or we need to get, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. 15th, right? We said.
Yeah, January 15th. So we'll definitely be
We'll be
talking
up.
about that.
Yeah, I'll be watching that every week
Yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited for that. Uh, but okay, I think that kind of wraps up everything we need to talk about 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I want to go back. I want to rewind here to 2022, where we had two games come out: Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok. Very far apart. I think Horizon came out in what, February? And then God of War just very recently came out in November, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these two games got very different receptions from, I believe, fans and media and the gaming outlets.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to discuss this because you fit this category where Horizon, you can't find much wrong with it, but it just didn't click with you. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is a huge majority of people here in our community and in like the gaming space in general, I guess. But absolutely adored God of War.
Mm-hmm.
And me being a huge Horizon fan am confused about that.
Okay.
So it's okay. So we're just gonna give the warning. We're going full spoilers here.
Mm-hmm.
We've for both Horizon and God of War. I did not play God of War. I watched it all on YouTube because I have a job that allows me to just sit and watch YouTube. Um, so I watched all of it. I watched a very thorough. My favorite YouTuber is Christopher Odd. He does very in-depth Let's Plays. So I watched all of his playthrough of that. You played God of War and beat it by yourself. You didn't do it the cheesy way like I did. Um, I played Horizon Forbidden West on my channel. You can watch me play all of it very in depth. You streamed a lot of it, right? Not a lot of it, but
I streamed. I mean, I streamed a good amount.
Yeah,
Probably
I think you
10,
got
15 hours of it. I would
yeah, you
say.
got decently far.
Mm-hmm.
So you can watch that on you can watch the VODs on Twitch, right? Or no? Is it
I
too long
think
ago?
they're still there. I don't. We started highlighting all of our VODs just so that they would stay on the channel, but I don't know if they're still if we were doing that at that time.
Okay, well, whatever.
But I have them. I might upload them at some point to our YouTube channel. Hi, kitty. Our our child is running around here somewhere.
Okay. So, full spoilers. You enjoyed God of War Ragnarok a lot, right? Did you call it? Was that your number one of the year?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Horizon was my number one. So here we go. Put them up.
All right.
We're fighting.
All right. Hold on.
Just punch this. Okay. What do you got?
Bring it on, motherfucker.
I have a kitty. Hang on.
Okay. That just hit me in the head. All right. You gonna fight me with a long neck?
Yeah, I'm gonna fight you with a Lego long neck. Right. Eloy's up there too.
I'm just hitting myself in the head with this. It's not even doing anything.
Is it foam?
It's a hard plastic, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. Let everybody in on how much
Okay.
of a nerd I am.
Yeah, yeah, real nerd moment there.
But yeah, um,
Okay. So here we go. God of War, it's a whole time that I'm watching this. Atreus and Kratos. Okay, okay, first of all, I need to say I enjoyed God of War. I I didn't care for the ending, and I don't want to make it sound like I don't like the game. I'm saying I don't get why it's so much better, quote unquote, than Horizon. That's my problem here. The um the ending of God of War, like throughout the whole time I'm watching it, Atreus and Kratos are very aware of what they're doing. They at the end of the game, at the end of the first game, they see this, or Kratos sees this prophecy. Atreus knows about all this prophecy. They know what they're doing. They know if they shoot the arrow into the sky for Skull and Hati that they're setting forth, this chain of events. Kratos knows if he kills um Heimdall, he's starting this other chain of events. Like it just keeps going and going and going. And it just seemed like a weird way to tell a story. And by the end, like I felt like I knew how it was gonna end from the very beginning of the game. From when Thor and um Odin walk into Kratos' cabin. They're sitting there, whatever, they talk their shit, and then they leave. I'm like, okay, I know we're gonna have a bunch of battles with Thor, and the game's gonna end with an epic battle with Odin, and we're gonna storm Asgard, and we're gonna kick his butt, and that's how the game's gonna end. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. And there was nothing that happened throughout the game that like blew my mind. That was even like the big twist of Tyr. Okay, like I think that was meant to be a huge twist, meant to be a jaw-dropping twist. And I was like, oh, all right, yeah, that sucks. And then like that was like the only thing that happened throughout that game that I don't know, that even felt like a twist or some sort of creative storytelling. Do you see it all where I'm coming from?
I do, but I think that we are looking at the game in two different ways. Um, like I think you're kind of looking at the story like the trying to get my my words together here.
You'd say,
Um, you're looking at it just from start to finish a little bit more broadly, like this is this is how it's gonna end, and we knew that kind of from the beginning. Um, but I think that the reason that it was more impactful for me is not necessarily about the things that happened, but just the like individual um like growth in the characters themselves. So like um specifically with Kratos, like, you know, last game, um, we obviously got to see him, you know, go from this basically just like a absentee father just doing his duty to like take care of his son to an actual, loving parent. And in this one, we got to see how that changed him overall. Like the decisions that he made along the way felt different than how they would have been in the first game. Um, and like that's what was exciting for me was seeing like, when Atreus would freak out and turn into a bear and run off, like you would almost expect how, like the Kratos that we know to be furious and scold him once he finds him or whatever. And it was never like that. It was always, you know, uh you saw him not like looking at it as a leader, but looking at it as his father. And he was just, none of that mattered anymore. He was just happy that his son was okay. Um, and then like getting to hear Kratos make amends with Freya, I thought was really really
That's true.
interesting.
Yeah, I
That
did like
was
that.
that was
I liked Freya a lot.
like just it's weird to like equate a game with so much like intense like fighting, combat, and everything to just conversations. But I think that was where the story really had me. Like,
Okay,
getting to hear uh like Kratos talking to Freya and justifying to her why he killed her son, and them being able to like come to terms about that um was just really interesting for me to watch. And I think so when I'll be like fully transparent, when I finished God of War Ragnarok, I didn't feel as like emotionally impacted as I did when I finished the first game.
Mhm.
But I think that was because it wasn't just this big climax at the end. Like it kind of was, but all of like all of the big emotional beats kind of felt like they happened along the way. And it wasn't, what we were building up to had kind of already happened throughout the game. Um, and that might be like,
I think that's where I'm losing it, honestly, because I agree with you. There's a ton of character development in it, but it just like I don't feel like any of it meant anything besides Freya. Freya
mhm.
starts off the game trying to literally murder you, and by the middle of it, you guys are making up and you guys are cool again. But it just, I guess maybe I'm ruined by. Okay, so if I want to draw the Horizon comparison,
Okay.
first of all, strictly, I mean, we could probably talk forever, but strictly storytelling wise, because that's why I like God of War. I didn't like the first one's gameplay. I didn't. That's why I didn't play it, but I like the story of God of War. Horizon, throughout the whole first game, uh, Zero Dawn, you were, you're like 2,000 years after the fall of humanity, like our humanity. Spent the whole game learning about that, and then you realize humans were completely wiped out. The entire Earth was barren, and everybody was gone. And then this AI, Zero Dawn, built the planet back up. And then the second game, you're still led to believe that. And then I wouldn't even say it's that far into the beginning of Forbidden West, you see people like very future, like you're led to believe that, you know, at Earth is still Earth is still pretty primitive
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And but these at one point in the game, these people walk in that have this like glowing, shiny armor, and they just look futuristic, and it was just mind blowing. Like I was struck, like speechless. Like, who are these people? And the more you delve into it, you realize that they are people from the original Earth that have been alive on another planet for thousands of years. Like a twist never saw coming, never would have predicted. No, you know, I guess I was just expecting something like that to happen in God of War, where that happened in the first one. In God of War 2018, that happened when we found out that Atreus was half giant, or did we? I think we knew he was half giant, but we found out like he was Loki, Like at that
Hmm.
end, he realized, oh, that's what your mom wanted to name you, Loki. And we're like, what? We like everybody knows who Loki is. He's not the best guy. Well, from the Marvel character anyway. So that led us to all contemplate like what's gonna happen with and then they show us Kratos dead in the prophecy on the wall, and we're just, like my mind is just spinning like what's gonna happen in this game. What's the crazy thing that's gonna happen in Ragnarok? And it just I felt like it never happened.
Okay. No, I can definitely see where you're coming from with that. Um, I think, at least in terms of God of War, the fact that they had, that big twist in the first game, like to set up the second game, I guess I just don't know, like, if another big, like, twist is necessarily needed. And I think the story can just be, like, you know, what implications that has on the future and how they handle it. It's not as like exciting, I guess, of a story. Like there's not that big like whoa, like, but
Yeah.
you're kind of just watching the whole like how this played out. And personally for me, um, something that I found really interesting is just how they melded the Norse mythology and God of War stories together,
Oh,
because there
absolutely.
are
Very cool.
changes like um in you know in Norse mythology, Jormungandr, like the big world serpent, is one of Loki's kids,
Yeah.
and Fenrir the wolf is one of Loki's kids, like,
Mm-hmm.
but because Loki is a child in God of War's adaptation, like they have to figure out how those characters are still a part of it. And the fact that they're able to do that, um in not in the first game alone, was really interesting. But the I because we got to see like how they started shaping their own mythology, it was exciting to see how they did it in Ragnarok with, the biggest event in Norse mythology. Like, because Loki has such a different role in it in God of War, how are they going to go about like bringing this event into this world? Um, and I think that's what was really interesting for me. Um, on top of, like the performances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
just
not gonna knock anything like that. And I thought that was really cool too, how they got Jormungandr and Fenrir. You know, he wasn't Atreus's literal children, but like he in a way created them. I thought
mhm.
that was really cool. And I kept waiting for something cool to happen with Jormungandr, and like I felt like we just kept building and building and building and building, and there was just nothing that was super super exciting that happened at the end of it.
Mhm.
Where I feel like in Horizon, the story was better at building and then getting to a high point, and then kind of like and then building some more, and it was good at just feeding you little bits of story. Like, oh, I can't wait to find out more about that. Oh, I can't wait to find out more about that. I want to dig deeper. I want to know more. I want to know more. And God of War, I just didn't feel like that for me.
Okay.
But it was interesting. I'm making it sound like it's bad, and I'm trying to say that it's interesting. I just don't get why it was so much higher regarded than Horizon. So what do you think? Obviously, these are games. The gameplay has a big factor in it too. What about Horizon didn't click with you, but clicked with you in God of War? You
So
think?
I think there's a few things with me and also with like the general gaming community, which is why Horizon wasn't seen in the same light as God of War. For me, I really do love the gameplay of Horizon. And that's why I played through all of the first one. I played through the DLC. Like, it was always just fun and exciting to come up against this crazy robot dinosaur and figure out how to beat it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the story and how the story is told, they're just such different games. Because, like, and I really don't want to like belittle
Yeah,
Horizon in any way because
we're
they,
not.
yeah. But with God of War, the story is kind of everything, and then the combat is just what's mixed
It,
in between.
yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and I do really enjoy the combat in God of War, but it's not for everybody.
Mhm.
With Horizon, the story isn't as, I guess, cut and dry. There's a lot more. It's a lot more complex, because you have to get into the history of, you know, when civilization was collapsing and how, you know, how the robots came to be and like all that stuff. And I know I'm butchering this because I still generally I don't remember a whole lot of the first game.
Yeah.
And I oh man, I
It's
don't
hot.
want to be rude about this,
Yeah.
but the dialogue in Horizon just was exhausting sometimes. And maybe maybe that's just my goblin gamer brain. Um, like, let me get back to fighting the robots. Like, but when I was just like finishing like a fight against a 3-story tall like metal crab or whatever, and then I have to go through a dialogue tree
Mm-hmm.
and just listen to back and forth and back and forth, and it's just not how people talk in the world. Like, even now, like you and me talking, like, there's or we kind of interject in places and like we might talk over one another or whatever, but it's natural. And in God of War and like a uh or The Last of Us or Uncharted, like you feel like you're really listening to two people talk because you see them interacting like people. Where in Horizon, it was like you hit a prompt and you hear this person do like an entire like monologue, and then you hear Aloy's take on it, and then it goes back, and it's just I don't know.
I feel. Yeah.
They feel like such different games,
I agree.
and just in that when you're talking about the story specifically, I think that's why God of War grabbed people so much more than Horizon. Is it's just a more compelling way to experience the story.
I would agree with you. Where, because in my Let's Play of Horizon, I think I had like entire episodes dedicated to talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like 45 minutes of going through, 3 or 4 people and just exploring every dialogue option that I could.
Mm-hmm.
And God of War definitely did not do that. So
Yeah.
I see that. Most of its storytelling is told while you're walking around. Like the
Mm-hmm.
characters never shut up, which is cool. So yeah, that's a good point. It's a very different way of uh, telling the story. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
Aloy's standing still, you're in a pretty much a cutscene. You can't walk around. You're just
Mm-hmm.
listening to people talk. Whereas in God of War, you're walking around. You're breaking chests and collecting your stuff while
Yeah.
while they're talking and you're listening that way. So
Hmm.
I can see that. I can see, all right, sure. That makes sense. The way that you explained how the story is told is it's a very big difference.
Hmm.
I've never thought of it that way. Whereas, Horizon has tons of dialogue trees and dialogue choices. God of War, I don't think I had any of that. It
Hmm.
was all just told as you're walking around. And I think that's maybe as you think that's the only reason. This is just how you get around and like in the way the story is told to you.
I think that that's a big chunk of it. Another, so like, God damn it, words are just escaping me today. Um, I think that's definitely part of it. Because the thing that held me up so much with Horizon was, I wanted to keep going with the story, but like maybe it was just like it's such a complex story, and to be experiencing a good chunk of it just through back and forth dialogue, like it's hard to really retain a lot of it. At least for me, it was.
Yeah.
So it was almost a little bit discouraging to make it through, this big story moment, um, where you'd like fight a big monster and then you have a cutscene or something like that. Um, and then you'd be back in a new location, but now there's four different characters that you have to talk to get to the next like story mission. And some of those could have like 8 or 10 different like options of, and some of them might not even be, you know, um, like required, but it kind of makes you feel like, all right, I have to like get through all these to like get the full story, and it just kind of lost me. Um, and I think that that's probably, at least just from a story perspective, where more people gravitated towards God of War, is because like the story is told either in like fully acted out like cutscenes where you're just like you're watching a realistic conversation, or it's happening while you're walking around the world, and it's not in like a trailing mission or anything like that. Like you're being told a story or something as you're going about what you'd already be doing. um the other thing that I think wasn't necessarily a, you know was kind of just honestly bad timing for Horizon, was
Mm-hmm.
that it came out like what, a few days before Elden Ring.
I think 2 weeks,
Yeah.
something like that.
Um
Or Guerrilla Games is cursed with coming out right before some of the greatest games in history because
mhm,
they did the same thing with Breath of the Wild in 2017.
mhm. Yeah,
So
which
yeah,
I hadn't thought about that with the first one, or with either of them really, but one of the reviews I watched on Forbidden West was like, it they almost kind of, in the broader uh gaming history, they've kind of pinned themselves as the game that comes out right before the next massive open world game.
what is that movie that the guy every girl he sleeps with, she meets the
Uh,
love of her life right
the
after? Like that's
Good Luck Chuck, I think it
that's it.
is.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Or Guerrilla Games is Good Luck Chuck.
Oh man, like,
I I mean I get it. I'm not trying again, neither of us are trying to say that these are bad games. We just I don't know. Maybe it just takes a certain type of gamer to really enjoy uh Forbidden West's style of storytelling and gameplay because like you said there are different games. I'm not going to
mhm,
say that they're similar because
mhm,
they're not. I Because in my head I'm thinking like the combat is just I feel like is more is more complex, and that might be a a negative thing,
Mm-hmm.
but not to someone like me, where they have all these different elements that go into the combat. Where I felt like God of War, there are some strategic RPG elements to it, but it's definitely not as in depth as Horizons is.
Mm-hmm.
So that has something to do with it too. And I didn't like the open world argument. Like, people don't like open world games anymore. Well, I don't believe that, because Elden Ring is an open world game.
Mm-hmm.
Of as an advertising, you know, point, to make sure it was an open world game. So I don't know. Uh, I think I saw that Horizon didn't win a single Game of the Year award at any type of any outlet.
Mm-hmm.
I think they won like I think it's like a what where are they from? Where's Guerrilla Games from? Is it Sweden or Norway or something like that?
I think
One
it's
of the two.
Sweden. I might be
Well,
wrong about that
I
actually.
I think they won like the Swiss or the Norway Game of the Year or something like that. Like, their country's video game of the year.
Yeah,
Like, of
they're
course,
Dutch actually.
geez, not even close. Um, they won their country's like Game of the Year award show or whatever. So, like, yeah, of course they did. Like,
Yeah.
they're gonna pick their hometown kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, well, I guess you kind of owned me, Gooba.
No. I
Yeah.
think I think what it comes down to is that they're just very different games, and I think that people play certain games for certain reasons.
Mhm.
Um and I do think that Horizon, like the series as a whole, I think will be remembered as a game that people loved for the gameplay.
And just didn't
And
understand the story one bit.
yeah.
I think it's gonna be recognizable, that's for sure. Everyone's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
be able to see Aloy, gonna be able to see the robot dinosaurs and animals
Hmm.
and stuff like that. I know that
Yeah.
that's Horizon, and they were good games, but we didn't like them for some reason.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah, but
there's a few, like I've had a few games, that I've played through that I really enjoyed, and I couldn't tell you a single thing about the story.
right,
Like,
for sure.
um and I think obviously their luck with coming out the same year as not only like God of War, but Elden Ring,
Hmm.
and you know it was tough competition this year. I will say, like, despite the conversation that we've just had in the last 40 minutes or so,
Yeah.
God of War did like really clean up at the Game Awards, and I don't know. I feel like part of that could be like recency bias,
Yep. That
which
was
I
another one
think
of
we
my
did
arguments
touch
too.
on in our last episode.
Hmm.
Um, like there are some categories where I don't really know if you know, it may have been a contender, but I don't know if it really deserved to win, or
Yeah.
if it was just a product of it being on everyone's mind currently.
Yeah, I think it definitely was recency biased, and a lot of the things that I listened to, like the podcasts that I do, people were, Horizon would get brought up, and they, yeah, it's a good game. I don't remember anything about it, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's because you played it for a little bit, and then Elden Ring came out, and that was in February or March or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you played Elden Ring for 150 hours. Like, of course, you're gonna forget what you played right before that. I mean,
Yeah.
that, yeah, but that's, I don't know. That's not the game's fault.
Yeah.
But okay, we settled it.
We squashed the beef.
We squashed it. We squashed the beef. I now understand why God of War might be viewed as better in people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, Horizon Forbidden West, Game of the Year, Century, Decade. No,
We'll
it's
see how you feel about that when Final Fantasy 16 comes out.
yeah, exactly.
That might that
Yeah, I'm
might
like,
change that statement a little bit.
yeah, and I don't know. I was probably still like The Witcher 3 more than I liked Horizon, but still.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
But okay, I think we've rambled on long enough.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting over. We're approaching 2 hours in the last
We're
couple episodes. So
Yeah, I mean that's good. It's
yeah.
games are a lot of fun to talk about.
Oh yeah, and I think this year we're gonna have a lot more to talk about with
Yeah, I'm
not
hoping.
just games, but with like adaptations and stuff too.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully we can start turning these out a little more often. It's fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you're busy, I'm busy. It's hard to get all this together. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, hopefully we'll have one here soon out next for you guys. And yeah, any final words, Jake?
Um, just keep on gaming.
Keep on, wow, keep on gaming. That is intense.
All
But
right.
anyway,
Oh,
um, I on my channel, I want to finish up, like I said earlier, I want to finish up Near, so hopefully I can get a bunch of those videos churned out. Then I want to get through Jedi Fallen Order. Hopefully I can
yeah.
a bunch of those videos out and you can do it that way.
Yeah.
Well, all right, that's it for what is this, episode 5 now?
Episode 5, I think.
5 question mark of the A to Jump podcast. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm Justin, he's Jacob. We will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.